Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to go over the newest hero called Arcana. Arcana is a trajectory of destiny. She's a warrior, which doesn't matter for our gameplay, and her main synergies is going to be an Avenger, Deviant, Striker, and a Royal. So the issue with Strikers is they're not one of the most common or build synergies when it comes to Avengers. There are few certain heroes that are pretty good even though their synergy is bad, but they're not really being used because the rune synergies kind of matter. So the example would be Hecate isn't really all that of bad hero, but her rune synergy kind of makes her be unplayable. So it's pretty much the same can be said for the Fenrir or even the Saline, although he is no longer really even worded. Even Lachesis I would guess wouldn't be as bad if she was a monarch and could be actually usable. But now with the Arcana being a pretty much female version of Ying Zheng that is stronger, I can see a vision of a team being a Fenrir, Hecate, Arcana, and some other heroes, or Arcana could go into the main Avengers, replacing the Ying Zheng. Even though you would lose on the 5 Phantoms, you would gain some additional bonuses that are pretty strong for the PvP in her Oath Force in exchange for losing out a Phantom synergy. So even though she's basically a 2 times stronger Ying Zheng, she still brings something new to the kit. So let's go over her skills and her potential meta in the Avengers. So her ultimate is 540 physical damage to frontline enemies. Frontline enemies I'm personally not a fan of. I like hitting backline enemies most because that's where the majority of the people keep their carries at, but sometimes I personally like to move them to the front line, so this actually hurts me more because my playstyle is usually using the carry heroes in the front because the backline hitters nowadays are just too strong. So her physical damage scaling is pretty nice. That's pretty big damage because there's only 2 heroes in the front lines, so you split this into 2, so her damage is going to be quite strong. The active skill we don't really care about. The 6-star passive. Before each action, Arcana has a 50% chance to grant allies a random effect. Options are Fortitude for 1 round. This is useless because in the PvP, Fortitude is countered by the Execute, which is basically Phoenix or any kind of pet that has Execute, or any kind of relic, or even synergy such as Valiantors. So Fortitude is useless. Invincibility for 1 round is pretty strong and good, so this would make more sense. I would wish they would remove Fortitude, because Invincibility is kind of like Fortitude, just isn't countered by the Execute. And then we have cast active skill after dealing damage, cast ultimate after dealing damage, or restore 100% HP. This is also pretty good, so we have 4 usable effects and 1 completely usable. So overall this goes to 100% chance later on, and doesn't increase the rounds. Unfortunately, going to 2 rounds would be pretty massive. Maybe they do that on the release, so these skills are not 100% going to be the same as the leaks, but very likely will end up being so. But if they add 1 round to the invincibility, it's going to be absolutely bonkers. So yeah, at A-star she becomes quite strong, quite nice, and because this is, I assume, to all allies that are doing their action, it's going to be pretty good. Like imagine your hero is just casting their active skill or ultimate, for example Narissa, she will just cast it 1 more time, which could be crucial for the battle. Especially for someone like Aphrodite to give her more chance to steal, or even Hecate to just cast her ultimate once more, because her damage scaling is really insane. And she's a hero I believe will be paired very nicely with the Arcana. So passive number 2 is at 7 stars, allies gain 2 million attack and defense each time they take damage, stacking up to 30 times. This effect does not stack with Ying Zheng's passive, which is basically exactly the same as Ying Zheng. So now if you don't have Ying Zheng, you don't have to wait for the 4th Oath Recall to get him. You can just simply get Arcana and you will have your Ying Zheng ready. Although, as I said, you're losing out on Phantom and Celestial for the Deviant and Striker. So yeah, she's basically a stronger version of Ying Zheng. Ying Zheng is all of this, but just 1 million instead of 2 million, so she's 2 times stronger than him. That's pretty much her entire 7-star to 9-star passive. Her Oath Force being 8 stars. Stats that are attack, defense, and HP gained by the allies through healing conversion have their acquisition limit increased by additional 50%, goes up to 150%. for the entire battle. So this is exactly the same as Ying Zheng, but better. As you can see, it goes only to 100% on him. So for the includes effects from heroes, relics, artifacts, hope shield, yada yada, doesn't matter, does not stack with Ying Zheng passive. So it's exactly the same as Ying Zheng passive, as I said, and the effects they're referring to are the effects right here. So for example, Hecate, she converts 20% of healing into attack to 200 million. So with Ying Zheng, this will be 400 million attack, which is pretty strong. You have also same passive right here in the Fenris kit, I believe in here. So yeah, exactly in here, up to 100 million. So for her, it would be 200 million. And even more with the Arcana, because she's now stronger than the Ying Zheng. So this is the team I can envision with her: Arcana, Hecate, Fenrir, Odin for the Holy Shield removal, and also if Hecate kills, Odin will make her cast again. So yeah, that's the team I can envision, and I can also envision Arcana being in the main Avengers because of the following passives. In PvP and GVG modes, before each action, Arcana has 100% chance to apply a random effect to enemies. Options are unbuffable. This is a new effect. I don't think we have this effect. I'm assuming it makes heroes be unable to receive any kind of buffs, which is going to be pretty massive, especially against Avengers and especially against Ethereals. So this is going to be really strong. Accuracy rate minus 80% for one rod, also absolutely insane. Imagine you hit enemy Arcane, Dorabella, Loki, Eve, or even Narissa. This is going to be hurting a lot if they miss majority, if not all of their skills with this. Silence for the run around is pretty nice, and Healing Rapture is also kind of strong. So overall, her PvP outforce is absolutely insane, far better than what Ying Zheng offers. Actually, he doesn't even have, he's so old, he doesn't even have the PvP/GVG mode effect. Arcana is definitely going to be power creeping Ying Zheng. Ying Zheng might still find use because of his unique runes. They're kind of better than the Arcana's runes, but the Arcane's runes are also quite strong. They will basically just double her action, which triggers one time per round. So still strong, but not as strong as Ying Zheng's runes are. And he's kind of better for the Hecate because of his runes. If you have his runes, I believe he's better fit for the Hecate, for the attack buffs to be limited higher. But yeah, nonetheless, I believe that the Arcana is going to be quite strong and probably a major player for the PvP because of these effects right here that are applied to the enemies, and also because of these effects right here. So I recall her majority of the stats is going to be 8 stars, like she's going to be mandatory to be 8 stars to be viable, and then gets far better at 12 stars. Her runes are definitely not going to be necessary, but they're going to be nice. But you can also get away with just epic runes. I believe 50% chance is enough to be like somewhat justified for the 70 to 80 bucks, whatever it costs on release to get her runes. So yeah, that's the Arcana review. I personally like it. It's sad that the entire kit is basically just a female Ying Zheng. Her entire kit is just copied Ying Zheng and slightly better, slightly more reliable, and just like additionally better for the sacrifice of one phantom, which is probably just going to be justified just because how crazy her buffs to allies and enemies are. So yeah, thank you for watching. Next up, we're going to talk about is the Fool or the Judgment, and yeah, see you guys in the next one. Tell me how you feel about this hero. I personally like it, just unfortunate that it's lazy coding or lazy writing. But yeah, overall pretty happy with this hero because I will be getting it and I think it will help the Avengers in the PvP. See you in the next one.